A very good evening, and it's Monday night, not Monday night football, but Monday night reflection after the Friday night horror show up on the Tyne. Although I've had a fantastic weekend, didn't get back till the afternoon of Sunday. The Georgia hospitality, fantastic city, but it wasn't the performance or the result that we wanted. As a Wolves fan, it seems like every week we're one day we're up. The next week we're down. One week Europe's within our reach. The next week it's gone away again. And I know you will remind me that I do need to update my intro. When I get 5 minutes to actually do that, I've got someone that actually can design me a new intro, because obviously we don't have Amy as the main host anymore because she's out of lockdown and stuff like that. And she's got a new fella and back at work and everything. But we will get that done at some point. But we do have a lot to talk about, do we not? We've got so much to talk about. But before we get started, I do want to say a massive thank you to Wolves F1, who is one of my members. Actually, if you want to be a member, you can join in the link, or just let us know and we'll send it over to the Always Wolves send you. But he's sent a £20 donation, which really does help. And he says great videos and podcasts, and it really does mean a lot for the support. Thanks for the donation. It does help keeping the software go. And before we get stuck in, because we've got a range of fantastic guests, we've even got a Newcastle fan who actually on Thursday evening was sat alongside Newcastle legend Alan Shearer. And that's Gareth, who is one of the main directors of SpiderVPN and the new amazing crypto product, SpiderMiner. And he's going to be coming on to talk to us about the Georgia view of the game and also their season. And we're going to learn a little bit more about SpiderMiner as well. So when he comes on, please make him feel really, really welcome. Top guy. I've been talking for ages, and we got to spend. And if you watch the vlog, you would have met both Gareth and Nathan, his brother. Loads of people saying hello in the chat. Much welcomed. And first up, we're going to get on friend of the show who waited patiently last time. We're going to get him on first. It's Jack. Jack, hello, mate. How are you?
Evening, Dave. Evening, everyone. We all okay?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, to be fair, you know, I had a fantastic weekend in Newcastle. I had a brilliant time apart from the 90 minutes during the game. And I did have a workout like we all did, getting up the steps. In fact, I'm going to do a TikTok on that because I recorded all of the steps all the way up to the top of Newcastle. And it'll make a really good TikTok, I think. So when I've got a chance to speed it up and put a bit of music on it, it'll be quite entertaining. But when you get to the top of the stadium at Newcastle, because the away fans are right in the gods, it's almost like being in Harry Potter world and watching a Quidditch match.
Yeah, it's mad. I don't think I've been to a ground like that before, where you're so. I mean, we've been to Newcastle before, but there's no other grounds where you're so far away from the pitch. You know, it's really bizarre, isn't it? And like you say, by the time you've done up there, you feel like you've done a charity walk, don't you? Going up those stairs, and you know, you feel like you should be having a big oversized check to give to someone, you know, for doing that. It's a heck of an effort, isn't it?
Mate, I managed to get up the stairs. I'm sure Gareth might know roughly how many it is. I managed to get up there without how many? Oh, the producer has told me there's 146 steps. No, 140 steps. And I got up without having to stop. But there's a load of people on the side going like this, panting and having a break because your heart starts to go. You get a proper workout going up there. You know, I don't know whether they do it to try and take our energy out of us before the start of the game. Well, I mean, did you manage to get up in one go?
Just about, yeah. But I think the other thing is because you're going up and up and up, it's almost spiraling, isn't it? You become a little bit dizzy as well towards the top as well. You do the lack of oxygen as well. I don't know, but
you do go a little bit lightheaded. Robert Fletcher says, dreadful game. Unfortunately, the results have gone for us. Well, I've got to be honest, Jack. At the end of, I don't know if you watched my instant reaction after the game with Paul, Andy, and Paul's dad as well, Chris. But I asked him, "Is Europe on?" And it was like still on. It was no, and Paul was just. I was just maybe. And then the results have reset the same thing, and it's like we start the week, end the weekend exactly the same point as we ended the weekend. Is Europe still on?
It is, isn't it? Because, like you say, no one's really gained any ground on us, apart from obviously Tottenham have now started to play well, and they seem to be pulling clear, don't they, of everyone else. Obviously, Arsenal have started to slip up. West Ham have perhaps got their minds on other things with their Europa games coming up. Manchester United are in absolute turmoil, aren't they? And we just seem to constantly shoot ourselves in the foot. Whenever we have a really good opportunity to go and lay our marker down and say, this is us, this is what we're about, we fluff our lines, don't we? I mean, I'm struggling to think of a worse performance this season than Friday night. I really, really am. And we've had one or two shockers this season, but that's probably the worst one I've seen, I would say.
Right. This is Wolves, isn't it?
It is.
FA Cup semi-final. We're 2-0 up with 11 minutes to go, and we were 2-1 up with 30 seconds to go, and we managed to somehow not get to the final. Yeah. And we go to the Arsenal game where we're winning the game into the last 10 minutes, and we somehow managed to lose 2-1 and then go on a thing at street. Then we get back on track again. Then we go 2-0 up against Leeds. We're absolutely playing them off the park. 56 minutes, Rowe gets sent off, and we somehow have managed to lose the game again in the last minute. Then we come back and we absolutely annihilate Villa. Fantastic performance. We were all glowing last week. And we go to Newcastle, who have had a difficult year, but they had won 4 in a row at home, but they had lost the last 3. And we didn't turn up. But I said to Gareth and Nathan, they probably saw me go white when I saw the team selection, because I said to them, my confidence drained out of me when there was no Pedence and we had Luke Cundle. Nothing against Luke Cundle, because he's a great talent. He's a young lad. He's only like 18 or 19. He was 19 in the midfield. Fabio Silva's 19 playing up front. Pedro Neto, I think he come up later. So we've got obviously young lads. And it was a lot to ask for Luke Cundle to step into the boots of Neves and Dendoncker. I know he got Matinho alongside, but we never really had control. And for the whole game, it felt like that we were an army of crabs going side to side and backwards, didn't it?
Yeah, we just had no ambition, did we, going forward at all? There was no kind of, just all through the game, you couldn't see how we were going to score. You know, you just didn't see, oh, well, so-and-so's playing well, he'll beat his fullback and get something, or, you know, Fabio. I thought Fabio tried hard, but had absolutely no service, so you can't really criticise him too much. But he didn't offer a great deal, did he, in terms of when he did have the ball, he wasn't sort of like he was against Villa, was he, sort of knocking people off the ball, and he was, you know, there wasn't that sort of, I don't know how you describe it, you know, that almost bullishness. I think he lacked that a little bit, whether it was because we were away from home, and we do seem to be a little bit different away from home. Sometimes for the better, but sometimes, like you saw on Friday night, sometimes it doesn't help us at all when we're away from home, because we just don't seem to be able to dominate a game away from home. Even when we're playing teams that we should, by looking at the league table, be beating, they have a lot of possession against us, create opportunities. And in this league, you know, most teams have players that will hurt you if you give them enough of the ball. And we saw that on Friday night, didn't we? You know, Newcastle haven't been great all season, but in people like St. Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, Chris Wood, people like that, if you give them enough chances and enough possession, they'll create opportunities against you. And we had nothing going forward to offer in return. It wasn't an end-to-end game by any means, was it? It was kind of Newcastle attack, it breaks down, we have the ball a bit, give it away. Newcastle attack, nothing comes of it. We break, we give it away again. There was nothing to suggest we were going to offer anything in return, was there? It was just
The first half was the worst attacking performance in terms of attacks that I'd seen us all season. We never laid a glove on Newcastle. I mean, they didn't really lay much of a glove on us, really, to be honest. they had obviously the chances, but they pressed us and we kept losing the ball, and we never really got a grip. Luke Cundle, I'm not going to point the finger at him because he's a young lad, and he was basically, we saw him play away when we played Tottenham, but he played in a 3 alongside Neves and Moutinho, and he was great that day. But when we've only got 4 midfielders. Neves out injured, Dendoncker was out ill, Moutinho's 36, and then Luke Cundle's come in, and he was just trying to be. He was playing safe, wasn't he? He didn't want to make a mistake, and we didn't have those balls where you'd see Neves and they'd look to play the balls forward. It was always sideways, and you can't fault him for that. You come on to Fabio Silva, you talk about Fabio Silva. I've had a few people in the comments saying he's useless, he's rubbish. He was our best player to me. He just didn't have the support. He got that shot away in the second half out of nothing when the keeper went down to the post and tipped it around. And he couldn't quite get his head on that header that came across. That was a good chance at 1-0. And we were, the last 20 minutes, we were pushing, but we never really got into a golden opportunity to score. We didn't have a real clear chance.
No, and I think the disappointment was we just let the game drift, didn't we? I mean, it was crying. I don't know about you. He was crying out at half time to make changes.
100%.
Absolutely crying out. And the same team came out for the second half. You're thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe he's given them a rocket and said, sort this out. Nothing really happened. They got the goal, didn't they? 1-0 up. What was it? 20 minutes to go. And you're thinking, right, now's too late for substitutions now, isn't it? Because we've seen before with Bruno and this season, when he makes substitutions to chase a game, he sacrifices shape and he sacrifices organisation. So what happened was it became a bit Harry-Carry, didn't it, towards the end? We were throwing bodies forward and we were so open at the back. I mean, if anyone was going to score a second goal, it was Newcastle, wasn't it?
Oh, we could see it from up here.
Yeah.
Maximum, he's like their Traore, isn't he? He's got pace. He's got dribbling ability. His end product, you've seen him lash a few great goals in, but I think, talking to some of the Newcastle fans, he's a bit of a Traore frustration, is that he sometimes gets into great positions, then his decision-making is maybe not the best. And he had us on toast a couple of times, and we managed to just about. He was a danger. But we've seen Traore do that to players and to other teams. Guys, we've already got over 70 watching in the chat. Fantastic. Please, if you enjoy the content, smash a like and share on your Facebook group and on your WhatsApps. It's brilliant if you're new here as well, mate. I mean, talk me through your whole day. Did you stay over?
Yeah, we stayed over. Yeah, we'd planned to kind of months ago, and obviously the game moved to the Friday night, which was not ideal in any sense of the word, is it? So obviously after I'd been to work, I managed to get the train up. Obviously just about got there about half an hour before the game. Went straight up to St James's, obviously, and then after that we went out in the town for a couple of hours just to drown our sorrows, and then came back on Saturday. So so I think like you said at the start, actually sometimes you can still have a really nice weekend and a good time, even if the football's kind of let you down. And I think that sometimes that's important, isn't it? I used to do it when I was younger, and I just used to go to the game and go straight home after. And if you've lost, you don't take anything from it, and it becomes really, really kind of it's like a black cloud, isn't it, when they've lost? But if you can brush it off and you can have a great time with your mates anyway after, then the football's just part of it, isn't it? And we know, supporting Wolves, you can't rely on them to make or break your weekend, can you? It just doesn't happen.
Well, you've got to be right. My day was, we left about lunchtime. We stopped off just before lunch, stopped at the services, had a sarnie and a cup of tea. Then I met up with Gareth and Nathan from SpiderVPN and SpiderMiner in Zap, just up the road. We had a lovely Vietnamese meal. I had a Thai green curry. Went to the game, burned it off walking up the steps. Lost the game. Obviously, did the reaction. Then I met up with Paul and Andy. You see on the show. Andy actually is coming on later. We went into a pub in town. I had a bit of a drink in there and catch up, and before we went back. Got up the next day. Had a full English. Went and played crazy golf at Young Card Golf. And then me and them went out to a nice Italian. I had a steak meal. And then I went into Cozy Joe's. Gareth will probably know where that is. Probably Cozy Joe's. And I did a bit of karaoke and we had a thing. And I'll tell you what, Newcastle, it's kind of like seeing a city so full of life. We like it was before the pandemic. It was just absolutely banging and rammed. So many people enjoying themselves on a night out, all friendly, having a great time, and it was brilliant. And then, of course, stayed the Saturday night and then came back on the Sunday. So I'm glad I had, like you say, I had that after the game because it kind of helped because I couldn't celebrate the game.
Yeah, no, that's it, isn't it? That's obviously that's really important, and I think that's probably something that even the guys who watch at home on Sky or on streams and things, you've got to, take it in perspective, haven't you? Don't let the result kind of, colour your whole weekend or affect your mood too much, because it's just not worth it, is it? There's far more. Wolves are massively important to all of us, but it's not the only thing that's important, is it? So, if you can have a good weekend anyway, you've got to go and enjoy yourself, haven't you?
Well, 100%. Charles Murray says, sorry, Chang, not good enough in my opinion. To be honest, mate, what are you? What are your thoughts on the? Let's ignore the midfield. On the front three, on Friday night.
I thought Wang and Trincao were anonymous, weren't they? You wouldn't have known.
Wang was missing in action. He went AWOL.
You wouldn't have known Trincao was playing until his number come up to be subbed off. And that's not me being, sarky or anything. That's the truth. He contributed 0 to the team, and you can't afford to carry passengers. You really can't. You've got to. If the game's not going your way, you're not having enough possession. You got to go and get stuck in, and you got to try and win the ball back. You got to be solid, and you got to have a bit of a shape. And if the game's not going your way, like we say, you've got to say, right, let's make sure that they don't beat us. If we're not going to win today, let's make sure they don't beat us. And we had too many players on Friday night that just sort of drifted through the game, weren't really interested, I don't think, and didn't really fancy it. I've no idea why. We'd only be speculating, wouldn't we? But I thought the front two in Wang and Trincao were really, really poor. I think Wang's suffering a little bit. He's out of position, isn't he? I think we've seen him at his best when he's in the box. And the ball gets played in quickly to feet, and he's got quite a nice first touch, and he can get the ball out of his feet and get a shot away. There was that one he should have scored against Villa, wasn't it, where the ball just broke to him and he just half a yard of space and whipped it just past the post. He needs to be doing that, doesn't he? He's no good out wide. I've not seen him put a good cross in all season. I don't think he's got the pace to really beat a player necessarily, unless they're particularly slow. He's wasted out wide, isn't he? And I know he's kind of doing a job for the team, as it were, to use the cliche, but you've got to look and say, well, if he's not going to be picked in his best position, then he should be on the bench. You can't be picking people out of position and have people on the bench who are more naturally in that position, because that doesn't really work for me. I think you've got to pick.
Do you know what? I think Chiquino would have been a better option. I know he's a young lad and stuff like that, but he's a wide player, and he's quick and he's strong, and he can get a real good crossing. Because I know some people criticise Fabio, and Trincao was missing, and Wang was AWOL in the first half. For me, it was screaming out at half-time to change to a three-man midfield. I know we didn't really have, but Saiz can play as that defensive midfielder, and that would have allowed Moutinho and Kundal a little bit more freedom to express themselves going forward, because we just didn't never get a grip of the midfield. And then we could have gone with a two, and maybe you could have played Wang alongside Fabio, and done that, because they're more central and they would have been closer together. And you've had the wing backs coming down. Norwich maybe should have come on a little bit earlier as well. It was 5 minutes to go. He's more attacking wing back than Marcel, who has done well recently. But we were talking last week about how we've been impressed with Bruno Lage making the changes at the right time. And it seemed like he left it late again, reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? And I think we've got to kind of accept that Bruno's still, in managerial terms, very, very inexperienced. And he will have games where he'll get pretty much everything wrong, which I think he probably did on Friday. And I'm sure if you asked him, he'd probably, not necessarily publicly, but privately, he might say, yeah, I messed up. I got my selection wrong. I got my in-game management wrong. I got some of my subs wrong. And sometimes that's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, experienced managers will have games like that sometimes where just nothing seems to go right. They get their lineup wrong and they can't really affect the game from the bench. So we're kind of going to have to accept that for the time being, aren't we, with Bruno? He's very, very inexperienced in managerial terms. And so we will have games where things don't go his way. And part of being a manager is being able to react to that. And we could all see in the stands that things weren't going right and half-time was probably the time to change it. But we've watched a lot of Wolves games, haven't we, over the years and things, and we kind of can see that perhaps better than he can in some ways. He's got a lot of faith in that group of players, hasn't he? And perhaps that sort of colours his thinking a little bit in terms of, well, I'm not going to rip up the textbook for now and change it all at half-time. I'm going to give him another opportunity in the first 10, 15 minutes to see what that can do. Whether that's his thinking, I don't know. I mean, he was doing that at the very start of the season, wasn't he? He was waiting until 75, 80 minutes to make any subs at all, even when we were sort of 1-0 down, 2-0 down, etc. And then just recently, the subs are becoming earlier and earlier, and he's been really sort of thinking on his feet. And like I said last week to you, with the Villa game, his subs were really proactive. He didn't have to make the subs when he did, but he did, and it kind of had a positive impact on in terms of controlling the game. Whereas I thought on Friday, the subs were the right substitutions, but they were far too late to have any kind of meaningful impact. When you throw in players on with 10 minutes to go, it's desperation, isn't it? It's not tactical. It's just desperation. It's just we need a goal, get on the pitch and see if you can do something. And people like Neto and Chem Campbell and Ait-Nouri are people that may be able to do that. But it's a lot to ask of them, isn't it, to come on and impact.
Chem Campbell is another under 23 that he brought on, it was nice that he got the experience, but was he the right player for that time? I don't know. I mean, again, how old's Chem Campbell?
I think he's 19 now, I think, yeah. So, again,
we've got some good talented youngsters coming through, though.
Oh, yeah, we have, and I think that's part of the long-term strategy of the club, isn't it? The way that they're sort of trying to run it now in terms of the finances and also in terms of becoming self-sufficient. You're going to have players coming through like Campbell, like Kundal, like Marquez, people like that are coming through and going to, effectively save you 25, 30 million pounds on a signing by fitting into the squad. It's going to be difficult to judge Campbell on Friday night, obviously. I don't think anyone should really. But, I mean, like you say, 10 minutes to go. You might as well throw him on and say, go and make yourself a hero, all this, the cliches, go and mark your debut with a goal. Go and see if you can get us in the game. But it's not particularly well thought out, is it? It's not a kind of... Bruno wouldn't have sat and said to Chem Campbell before the game, listen, if we're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, I'm going to bring you on. It's literally at the moment, spur of the moment, let's get him on and see what he can do. And I don't think that's necessarily the way to go. In the Premier League, in the Championship, it happens quite often, doesn't it? People will just throw subs on last 10 minutes and they'll get them a goal and they'll go, brilliant managerial. Not really. It's desperation and it's luck. In the Premier League, you can't do it really because teams are so well organised, so well drilled. And in terms of game management, they're very, very good at that. If you leave your subs too late, they're not going to have any impact on the game.
And they didn't, did they? No. So, Jack, we've got 3 things to talk about this week. I'm throwing a new thing in.
Go on.
Aside from we got your man of the match, your performance rating, but I also want your highlight of the match.
Highlight of the match. It's a difficult game to pick a highlight from, isn't it? I think
Shall I tell you my highlight?
Go on. I might have to agree with you.
My highlight. I quite enjoyed all the flags around this. Gareth talked about this before the game because they had all the Newcastle had all the flags around the stadium, and I thought that was so impressive as a spectacle, looking down on the bowl with all the flags around. I mean, it was, and the atmosphere at the start was fantastic, wasn't it? And then when the ref blew the halftime whistle, that was another highlight.
Yeah, pretty much. And when they had the goal disallowed for VAR, that was.
Mate, have you watched my vlog on the goal?
No, not yet. No,
mate, you have to. I was going at it. I was going at it. I was like, what on earth is this defending? I was laying into the defense because it was like the Leeds defending again. It was comical. And then obviously it goes to VAR, and we got out of jail with the VAR. It's like we never get a VAR decision, but it was offside.
I don't know if you noticed it, but the Newcastle screens had put the goal up, and it showed that it was offside, and that way. It was almost
that's what when they were doing it. I thought that looks offside, and then it went to
that cut the feed. I thought, we're dobbing ourselves in here. We've got to get rid of that off the screen. Yeah. So that was a highlight, wasn't it? I suppose that if you're thinking of a highlight, Chem Campbell making his Premier League debut is good, isn't it? It's great for the academy, and obviously I know a lot of people work in the academy. Just to produce a player, they put a lot of hours in and a lot of time, and so it's great for them to have another one come through and make his debut. So I mean that's a highlight, isn't it? Kundal getting more game time. I think that the team that we had on the pitch at the end of the game, barring Moutinho, was incredibly young, wasn't it? Very young. We've just said about the subs aren't making an impact, etc., etc. But it's good to see young players coming through, isn't it? Because they are only going to get better with coaching, with experience. So there's positives to take from the fact that we have got a very young squad. If that was a squad of 30-year-old pluses putting in that performance, you'd go, we're in trouble here. Like Everton are seemingly at the minute. They've got such an experienced squad and they just can't seem to get a result apart from when they play Man United. But the
only bonus of Man United, obviously of Everton winning, because I'm like, nothing against Everton fans, but I think they should have a taste of life in the Championship, was the fact they did beat Man United. That's the only positive I could take out of that, because I was like, oh, they're going to get out of it again. And then Burnley lost, didn't they?
Yeah, no, it's a strange weekend for results, wasn't it? I wouldn't have thought Norwich would beat Burnley yesterday, but they were really good value for the win, weren't they? So, I mean, like we said, we've kind of not lost any ground. We've not gained any ground. It's an opportunity missed.
We've just lost a game.
Yeah.
A game's been ticked off.
Yeah, and I think probably the knock-on effect will be that we'll now have to beat probably one of the top three that when we're going to play them.
Right. This is Wolves. We'll probably beat all three. It's like
and then lose to Brighton, Burnley, and Norwich. Yeah, that's exactly.
And then lose to Burnley and Norwich. That's what will happen. You can write it, can't you? It'll go to the last game of the season, and Wolves will beat Liverpool to deny them from the title, and then we'll never get out of Anfield.
Well, you can.
We'll never get out the city. We'll never be seen again. What happens, will it?
Never. Fans will have to smuggle us out or something, won't they? If that happens, but I mean, like I say, it's not necessarily in our hands because obviously other teams are playing, and Leicester are kind of coming up the rails very quietly, aren't they? Sort of they found a bit of form.
They have, but I'd rather have the points. They're not.
Yeah, you would. 100%.
And they've got 3 games in hand. Come on, then. Your man of the match and your performance rated.
Performance rating, I'm gonna have to go 3, and that's been generous. I think 3. Man of the match, I'm gonna go for Johnny because I thought he had a really solid game, and I thought he handled St Maximin pretty well. He didn't have a huge amount until right at the end when the game kind of got stretched by our own sort of desperation. So I'm going to say Johnny was very solid, and like we said recently, he's come back like the same player he was before. He had 2 ACLs, and that's a phenomenal physical achievement and mental achievement, isn't it? So it's great to see him on the pitch and doing well. So yeah, I'll go with Johnny.
Absolutely. And also final words, because the Wolves ladies team won. Is it the Northern Premier?
Yeah,
they've won their league. They've got a trophy. That's the league below the Championship of the and the league, and then obviously you got the Super League above that. But they'll have to go on a playoff. Thoughts on the Wolves women and what a job Mac has done with them? 2 promotions in a row.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And like we've said before with the under-23s and the under-18s and the Wolves women, anyone who's got that Wolves badge on, they get our support, don't they? If we had an under-12s Tiddlywinks team and they had a Wolves badge on, we'd say, go on, lads, you can do it. So it's great for them. And I know they've had issues in the past with the last 2 years, haven't they, where they were top of the league by a mile and the season got cancelled, and then they had another one twice. Yeah. So, it's about time they had something go their way, isn't it? And like you say, I think looking at the league table, they're by far and away the best team in that division by a mile, and it'd be a travesty if they didn't get promoted. So, we wish them well in the playoff, and hopefully, if it can be at Molineux as well, I'm sure there'll be a big crowd in for that as well.
Right, they'll have to play. It looks like they play the winner of the Southern Premier, which is looking like being Southampton. That's a playoff match to get promoted, but then you have to put a business plan in to get promoted as well on top. So, but I'm sure Wolves will sort that out because obviously where they play at the moment, Old Wolverhampton Stadium, isn't classed as a elite enough stadium. They'd have to move it somewhere. Jack, absolutely brilliant to have you on again, mate. Thank you so much.
No worries.
And It's always good having you on, and I thought I'd get you on first tonight.
There you go. Cheers.
You waited a load last week.
That's all right, mate.
Cheers, pal.
No worries. See you later, guys. See ya.
So that's Jack. Always talks a lot of sense. I know you love hearing from him. Carl Whitehouse has said the under-23 semi-final of the Premier League Cup as well. Yes, well done. It should be made that. Charles saying congratulations to the Wolves women as well. And guys, we've got nearly 90 watching live. So why don't you all let us know in the comments where you're watching from in the world? That'd be great. Next up, before we get to Gareth, who's the Newcastle fan and director of SpiderVPN and SpiderMiner, we've got making her third appearance. She's got the shirt and she's holding on to it. Lucy.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, Lucy. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, you've got into the team and you're holding your place with a shirt.
That's it now. Now getting rid of me now. That's it.
I know you love it. People love having you on as well. Once you make your debut, that's the hardest bit. And then you've got your debut out the way. I was like, Andy's coming on for his debut in a bit. He's probably like watching all of this backstage in the green room. And it's not so bad. Is it a friendly bunch on here, ain't we?
Of course. I always knew it anyway. It's just, it was a bit, I was very, very nervous that first time. But now it's just like talking to a friend on, on Snapchat or something. It's,
Hey, you're down with the cool kids if you've got Snapchat, ain't you then?
I haven't got it anymore, but yeah. I got rid of that. I'm too old for that.
Did you go to the game?
I didn't. No.
You watched it on the box?
Yeah. I was in the pub.
You watched it from a normal angle rather than like we would like drones flying around the stadium with that high up. It was like, actually, for about 90 minutes, I felt like it was life as a drone. If that's what it would be like, type of thing. Fantastic. From your perspective, watching it on the box, obviously, and watching it all through the game, what were your general feelings of the game, and what were your expectations before the match, and how did you feel when the team came out?
The game itself, I was bored out of my brain. There was no excitement whatsoever, apart from when Fabio did manage to get the ball. Apart from that, what else is there to talk about? Oh, apart from Bolly was, on the money. But apart from them two, there was nothing else to talk about. It was just boring. And I sat in the pub with family, and I didn't know what I was watching compared to what we watched the week before. It was just elation the week before, and then to this week going, well, can we turn it off, please? Can we put some snooker on? Because that would be more exciting.
Put the snooker on. It would have been, actually, it was like, because it was so hot, you could put the balls on and start potting down the thing with that. Right, it was brilliant. I love, to be honest, it's great. But you normally when you go to an away game, you're like I'm generally quite low, and you think, but you see the game from a different. It's like watching Football Manager or Sensible Soccer or FIFA. You're that high up, and you got an aerial view of it all moving around, so you can see like all the spaces and everything. Yeah. And it was just great. We've got some people here watching. We've got Somerset to Cape, Coral, Florida, to Baltimore, to Stonehenge, to Rugby. It's brilliant that we have people all over the UK and all over the world tuning in to watch the show and watching you live, giving your opinions. Lucy, who did you watch the game with?
My uncle, and my cousin was in there. There was quite a few of my family and friends in the pub with me, which was nice.
Was everyone fed up at half time as well?
Yeah, very much so. Was
there a lot of moaning and groaning? Give the ball away again?
Any other time, you don't want to go to the bar because you think, I'm going to miss something. You couldn't wait to get to the bar to get away from the telly.
Gareth's laughing his head off in the green room. I can tell you right now. He's loving the show. He's like, mate, it's like, and Andy's laughing as well. And Jack, it's like some of it. We have some comedy moments, don't we? You ain't wrong, mate. It's like it's like going to the bar to get away from watching it. It was a bit like that. Well, I thought we were better in the second half, and I thought actually when Newcastle scored, we were probably having our best period of the game.
Yes, yeah, but no way was that a penalty.
I was going to come on. I was going to come on to onto that because I haven't actually watched the penalty back properly, but a lot of people said that Chris Wood left his leg dangling as he went through, and he played for the penalty. But it did go to VAR, and they had a long look at it, didn't they? But they didn't overturn it. They probably thought we got one decision. That was about our lot.
Yeah, it's Wolves. Let's not spoil them too much. I mean,
you'd say it wasn't a penalty. What did you think he literally left his leg in?
Left his leg in. You could just see the way he was going over. He was diving. It was so clear. It was unreal. But yeah, it's one of them things now. We move on from it again. These things happen, unfortunately, and not just for us. It's just unfortunately that most times that's the way it goes.
And Wolves have conceded more penalties this season than any other team. And do you know how many penalties we've had all season? I think we've had 7 against us. Do you know how many penalties we've actually had?
Oh, go on.
1.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether that means because we don't get in the box very often, or but we've had 1 penalty and we've had 7 against.
Yeah. It's been ever so poor. Oh,
again, we've had 2 penalties in a row, wasn't it? Really, because we had another one against Villa, which definitely wasn't a penalty. The one from the Villa game, that was like but that's the way it goes. Do you think Sarr, has made Chris Wood's mind for in the way he's come out, or do you just think he was unlucky?
I think he was unlucky. You could see Sarr's intent. Yes, it was offside as well, by the way. Yes, I saw that comment. Yes, it was offside as well.
It was offside, but they didn't give it offside, did they?
No, they didn't look at that part.
They must have looked at it. Why do you say it was offside?
Don't ask me, Dave. I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, from you watching the thing, did they pull it up on the screen? And
no,
because obviously from where we're looking at, we were behind the goal, and I've not really watched it back properly because I was depressed.
I'm going to be completely honest. I am not good with when it comes to that sort of thing. When it comes to rules, I've told you many times before. But everybody in the pub was going absolutely crazy. It's offside. It was offside for a start, and then it went to penalty. It wasn't. It just no.
But he did finish it. He did finish it well. He celebrated it well, didn't he? And the Wolves is an interesting stat. Up until that game, it was the longest, the record sequence in the Premier League for 2 sides, Newcastle and Wolves, that had not kept a clean sheet. 13 games. It's the longest sequence in Premier League history. So I had hope that it would be another 1-1 because Wolves, that's the go-to bet. And in fact, Gareth, before the match, said he was really confident it was going to be a 1-1 draw, and it wasn't. We didn't get that extra goal, did we? And what was your highlight of the game?
Fabio's shot on goal.
It was a good effort. That was. He made something out of nothing. I thought it was going in. How he turned and got it. Good save.
Honestly, if that had gone in, I think my table would have gone up. It was beautiful. But that was a great save. You couldn't take that away from the keeper. It was a brilliant save.
He got down well, didn't he?
He did. But it was a brilliant shot. Absolutely brilliant. It was. But apart from that, I don't think there was any highlights.
Well, it's still you picked out one. What about your man of the match?
Fabio,
baby. Yeah, Fabio Silva. And your performance rating?
3. I think I'm going to go with Jack. 3.
A 3. That says everything, doesn't it? A 3.
The boys need to pick it up now because it's getting beyond the joke now. This roller coaster that we're on. There's too many
roller coaster, isn't it? How happy were we last week? And then the week before we weren't. And then it's like every week, it's like on, off. Apart from next week, we don't have a game because City are in the semi-finals. We don't have a game for 14 days. And then it's Burnley away. Yeah. That ain't a given, is it? They're desperate.
No, because Burnley, I mean, I'm not being funny. It's a hard place to play as well. And I really don't like that ground. So I'm glad I'm not going to that one, to be honest. I'll
be there. I'll be covering it as usual. After the weekend's results, where are we going to finish?
I'm happy where we are. I'm happy in 8th.
You're happy in 8th. Well, to be honest, if we do finish 8th at the end of the season, for Bruno Lage's first season, that's probably a decent return for the season that we're in. But like, Europe's not completely gone, has it? After the weekend, we're like 2 points behind West Ham, 2 points behind Man United. Man United's next game's Liverpool. Their game in hand will be gone. Mm-hmm. So you can. It's a funny old thing. It's like nobody. It's like Arsenal look like they got 4th place nailed on, and then they've lost 2 games in a row, and now it's Tottenham. They're in 4th. So it's a funny old game, isn't it?
The love of football. That's what it is, Dave. It's the joys of football.
The joys of football, absolutely. So you've gone with a 3. And Fabio Silva. Great news of get up on the women as well, the women's game.
I can't wait for Wednesday. I'm going.
You're going Wednesday, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's at Molineux, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't wait.
I know you messaged me earlier saying I'm going, but I'm not sure if I can fit it in this Wednesday. But if they get the playoff when it's against Southampton to get promoted to the Championship, hopefully they'll put that on at Molineux because I think that'll be well attended as well, won't it?
Yeah, very much so. Be well received as well, that will, by the fans.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on again, Lucy. It's an absolute pleasure.
Oh, can I just say, because my uncle has said to me, please say this online, love to the Hatherton Wolves. They are fantastic.
Love to the Hatherton Wolves.
Yeah,
definitely.
Wolves, they're fantastic. We go away with them, and they're run by the best bloke in the whole wide world, Russ. He's brilliant, and I just thought I'd put that out there.
No, great, and you'll have to try and get some of them to come on at some point and give you some more support.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be watching this back and giving you some support on the comments and the likes as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And also listen to it back on the podcast. Lucy, fantastic, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No problem, Dave. You take care, sweet.
See you later.
See you later. Fun.
Bye. That's Lucy. It's always really important to get female fans' thoughts because they go home and away, and support their club as well, just like the men. And it's great to get ladies on. So any ladies out there that want to come on and have their view, you're more than welcome. It's great that Lucy's got the confidence to come on and do that. It's much appreciated. Now we have a very, very special guest that's coming on next. A friend of mine, got to know him. Basically, had a meal up in Zap, the Vietnamese, just the Thai before the game at Zap. Massive supporter of the channel. Really appreciate the support that they give me and this channel in their support, and that's SpiderVPN and also the new product, which is SpiderMiner. And they're from Newcastle. They're Geordie fans, and they're great people. And we welcome on one of the directors now. Hello, Gareth.
Hello, Dave. How are you doing?
Mate, probably not as good as you after the thing. Well, I'm sure everyone will give you a massive welcome. But obviously, we got to spend a bit of time together before the game. And, you were obviously came out on top from the Newcastle. What's the Newcastle perspective on the game?
Well, we had a discussion before the game, Dave. And what I was saying to you was that the Newcastle you played last time is a different beast altogether to the Newcastle you're playing now. So basically, Eddie Howe has improved every single one of our players, big style. It was so, and all the past three away results probably loaded us into a bit of a false sense of security. I mean, because we were hammered by Tottenham. Chelsea, it was a narrow defeat. Everton was a narrow defeat. But, apart from that, we've won pretty much everything or drew everything. You
had a 9-game unbeaten run, hadn't you?
Yeah. So, like I said, they're a different beast. So I think a couple of good things happened for us. Your team was weakened, as you mentioned earlier. You had a lot of players out. We had a full strength team out, and also the fact that let's say Eddie Howe strengthened all the players. The players we brought in as well, like your Dan Burns, and I also mentioned you Bruno Guimaraes. They have really sorted us out. We're so organised now, and especially at home. But let's put it this way, Dave. I don't think many people will be beating us at home this year, rest of the season.
No, well, that's 5 in a row, isn't it? And
yeah.
What was your take on Wolves?
Not what I expected. I expected you to be. You were organised, very organised, but from a creative point of view, there wasn't much from you. And I think, remember I told you for before the match, I said, look for Bruno Guimaraes, watch him because he's a really good player. I really do think he bossed that midfield, which kind of it didn't surprise us because I knew he was a good player, but I was surprised how easy it became for him. There's nothing got past him, and we weren't great either, by the way. I don't think we were fantastic, but I think it was just a ground out 1-0 win, and I expected a lot more creativity from Wolves, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing obviously Neves and then Dendoncker and Pedence, we just were toothless up front. We were Wolves with a gum shield in. We had no bite at all, did we? We were going around the field like this, side to side, literally. Yeah, anyway, I've got a joke for you. Just before on the a crab walks into a pub, and the barman says, "I'll serve you, but don't giving it all this."
Oh dear,
bad isn't it? That whilst we're on the subject of crabs, you can do a better one than that. How are you feeling as a Newcastle fan? Now you look like you're safe. You've got rid of Ashley, and that black cloud that's been hanging over Newcastle for so long, and now you've got a new dawn that's rising.
Sorry, excuse me one second. I'll look it up. Sorry, I'm getting wrong. Sorry, can I ask me that question again? Sorry about that.
Yeah, so because obviously you had obviously you got rid of Ashley, the big dark cloud. You've got the new owners. You're looking like you're safe. You've got this new dawn that's rising. What's the mood like now with the Newcastle faithful?
Probably the way you felt when you came back up, and that you had that new fresh horizon in front of you, the Premier League again, and you had a bit of investment, and for 2 or 3 seasons it was just absolutely rosy for you. Now we feel the same. We're now in a situation where you know, we're not going to invest some money, and we now know we're going to stay in the Premier League. So thankfully, Dave will be able to play his next season, and you know that I think that results secured that happening. So I'm really pleased about
I'm glad we could be of help.
Well, you're very kind of
that because it is a good away day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I'm pleased you like the city because Cozy Joe's, by the way, is fantastic, isn't it?
It's rammed. It was, in fact, everywhere in Newcastle was rammed.
Yeah.
We had to wait an hour and 20 minutes till I could get on to sing Beauty School Dropout.
Yeah, good
you
stuff.
know, I had backing singers and everything. It was really good. But yeah, it was kind of cool. But like an hour and 20 minutes to get on. But they had, I mean, there were some really bad singers on before me, so I think there was a big relief when I came on and was not as bad as some of the rest.
What did you say?
I sang Beauty School Dropout from Greece, Frankie Valli.
Right.
I do like a karaoke. Gareth, whilst we got you on, because you are a massive supporter of the channel. You have been all season, and obviously we've got the SpiderVPN and everything, and you've got a new product out, SpiderMiner. I think it'd be nice for you just to have a quick background and talk for a couple of minutes about your company and your products and what they actually do. And the link to the SpiderMiner is in the description below. But it's nice for people to just learn about that, because without your support, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm able to do with my YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I'll keep it brief because obviously we want to talk about football at the end of the day, don't we? But briefly, so SpiderVPN, who we've advertised with you all this time, have a sister company called SpiderDAO. Now, SpiderDAO is a cryptocurrency. So anyone who does crypto out there can purchase SpiderDAO tokens, cryptocurrency. Like anything, prices can go up, they can go down, so I can't give advice on that. But yeah, if you want to buy tokens, that's great. But as part of that company, we developed a miner. So this miner, unlike normal crypto mining, which costs you a fortune in electricity. So if you're mining ETH or you're mining Bitcoin, for example, it costs your electricity bills you couldn't afford them to run a traditional miner. So we've developed a miner that will mine up to 5 different cryptocurrencies at the same time. But what the real benefit of this is, it only uses about £5 or £10 worth of electricity per year to run it. All right. So it's if you want to get into cryptocurrency, it's a great way. It's a great entry level product where you can buy it. It'll sit in your sitting room. It'll give you VPN protection, but at the same time, it'll make you money on crypto with 5 different coins. And it sits there, ticks away, and makes you money while you get on with your life. And that's
so basically, it's a product that sits in your room. It's a VPN as well, so that connects to any device that you have in the household, not just the one. It connects to your phones, your tablets, your computers, anything, your TV. And on the side of that, it also sits there and basically mines crypto, so that at the end of the year, the 12 months, it's made you some money as well. That's the plan.
That's exactly what it is. And we're very proud of it because it's cutting edge. There's no one else does this. You can buy miners that will cost you a fortune in electricity, and it'll mine 1 coin at a time. This costs you next to nothing electricity, and it'll mine 5 different coins at the same time. The mining period's for a year, but after the year, that device will still provide your VPN protection on an ongoing basis. So we're very proud of it, and we want to get it out there. So on the chat earlier, I put a link on, just so if anyone's interested to have a look and do your research.
Can you put it on the chat again?
I will do it once we finish here. I'll put it back on, Dave.
Yeah, and I think there's also a link in the description below as well. And it's basically something that, like, because like a lot of people hear about crypto, and it's an entry level way of getting in, as well as getting a VPN for your home and all your devices as well. So it's a 2-in-1 really. And because it mines 5 coins, it's basically spreads the risk. basically, rather than just the one. So you got, some go down, some go up, but over the course of the year, that kind of the gist.
That's the gist of it, basically. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting all these things because I did listen to you.
I mean, it has got other features as well. For example, you can do a downvote through it. But again, I don't want to go into too much detail on that because let's keep it just simple for this exercise. But yeah, it has other features as well, and I recommend, if you want to get into crypto, just buy yourself one and get into crypto that way. It's a nice easy way of doing it.
Fantastic, mate. I appreciate you coming on and talking about that as well. As I say, like you hear every single week. You're on the podcast. We put the links in and you support the channel, and it's really, really appreciated. And obviously, there's going to be. I know you've got lots more news coming throughout the rest of the year with other things that are coming along that you're developing as well. So, thanks for your support, mate. I appreciate it. Back to the game.
Yeah.
Who stood out for you, if anyone, as a Wolves fan, as a Wolves player?
I tell you, I was really impressed with, and I thought he absolutely had St. Maximin in his pocket. Was that defender? Is it Bolly?
Willy Bolly.
Willy Bolly. He was fantastic.
Yeah,
I was very impressed by him. Because to be honest with you, St. Maximin normally takes a mickey out of players like that, but he just had him in his pocket the whole game, I thought. So he was excellent. So yeah, for Wolves, he would be my man of the match.
And what would you give the Newcastle performance rating and your Newcastle man of the match from your perspective? And what was your highlight of the game?
I don't think we played well, Dave, really, to be honest. And I think we scraped the result rather than winning the result. So for me, I'd give it a 5 out of 10.
A 5 out of 10?
Yeah.
You beat us 1-0 with a 5 out of 10. That says everything, doesn't it?
No, I don't.
Are you man of the match?
Man of the match for us was definitely Bruno.
Yeah.
Not your Bruno, our Bruno.
Yeah, in the middle. And your highlight of the game?
I thought the goal that was given offside was like a well-worked goal.
It was a good goal, apart from the offside, yeah. And the comedy defending.
Yeah. So I think that was a highlight of the game for me, but it was a shame it was ruled out.
Fantastic. Gareth, thanks for ever so much for coming on, mate. I appreciate it. It was really lovely meeting you and Nathan. Give my best wishes. Have you watched the vlog back, I guess, you and Nathan?
I did, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, no, it's fun. You even made the front cover. It's like, if you make the front cover of my thumbnails, it's like getting on the front of Vogue. Seriously.
Very famous now, Dave.
Brilliant, mate. Keep when you come off, just put the link again in the description for everyone that you've just talked about with your SpiderMiner as well.
Can I just wish you all the best for the rest of the season? And I sincerely hope you get to Europe. I really do mean that.
I appreciate that, mate. Well, I hope so, and it's good that, as I say, Newcastle are well safe, because it means that we can join up with you again next season when we come up to Newcastle, because it's a brilliant away. It might be a long way to go. I just hope they don't put it on a Friday night again. It's hard for them all. It's tough. But I suppose the Geordie fans have to travel to London, 5 times a season, and that's a trek in itself. So we do moan about the Friday night, but then you probably have a few of those trips.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's just a true fact.
Top man, thanks ever so much, mate.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Lovely to have Gareth on, a top bloke, and his brother Nathan's lovely as well. As I say, they're massive supporters. So check out the VPN, check out the SpiderMiner. He's going to put a link on in a minute. Links in the description below, and long may they continue to support us. And next on, we've got Andy Mack. Hello, mate. Making your day.
Dave.
Thank you for
waiting, everyone.
I really appreciate you waiting patiently, Andy. But I thought it gives you an idea when you first on, to get an idea of how the show rolls and the sort of things we talk, so you can get a gist before you come on.
Yeah, very much so.
Right at the top of the show. But we met in person for the first time at the weekend. Friend of Paul and Chris and Balak, and you're a top bloke. And we had a drink with you as well. Did you get home okay in the end?
We did. It was a long drive, obviously. But yeah, I think it would have been a happier drive back in better circumstances. Long ways to go, but yeah, if you get back with a win, it's always nice. So yeah, it's a shame, really. It wasn't in a bit of a happy situation.
No, it's just one of them things with Wolves, isn't it? Do you think we're a bit like which is a bit of a roller coaster from week to week at the moment? We've got the highs and then the low, and then the high, and then the low, the hope, and then the dash. You know, the joy and the pain every single week. Obviously it was painful to watch, wasn't it?
It did feel like that. I think probably, this season more than most, I think we've been quite good at putting together runs of games with, getting back-to-back results, which we kind of struggled with that really in the Premier League before. But we do seem to have this ability to throw a bit of a shocker in every so often. And I think that was, real, evident on Friday night. It was probably one of the worst. And it's difficult. I know Bruno talks a lot about consistency. But, really, it's that kind of performance that really just leaves you feeling really flat afterwards.
I know, mate. It was a bit like that, wasn't it, really? It's like what you say, it's when the team came out, I was like, it took the wind out of my sails a little bit because I thought, it was going to be difficult in the midfield. And Trincao had a poor game, but I think he plays well with Podence. I think when Podence is on the pitch, they sort of link up well, and he seems to Podence seems to bring the best out of Trincao, and Fabio. It all seems to work. Whereas, I think it was Manny that said a couple of weeks ago that when Podence is on the pitch, we're 3 times more successful in scoring than he is when he's not on it, and we never really looked like doing anything, did we?
No, I think as soon as you see the team, you think, this doesn't really look like the sort of team that's going to cause Newcastle too many problems. I think I was a bit, sort of wary before the game. They got quite good, sort of home form, and where was the attacking intention going to come from? Normally, if we play 2 in the middle and 3 up top, it looks like we're going to try and attack the game, and it couldn't have been more different, could it? You said that kind of sensible soccer analogy. You could really see, couldn't you, from where we were up in the stands, just how little movement there was and how predictable the play was. I mean, Trincao and Hwang, anonymous, and it just, we never really created anything of note, and it just looked like we never really threatened or had a chance, resorting to lots of long balls. And they got a guy that's 6'7" playing centre half. If you're going to keep knocking long balls up there, you're not going to get much fun, are you?
No, mate. And do you remember Sensible Soccer?
I do indeed.
Oh, it's the best football game ever. If it was in this day, that was at esports now, and it was Sensible Soccer, I would be there, man. I was blooming good at Sensible Soccer. I was, and I had it on my Commodore 64. Do you remember the Commodore 64s?
I did. I had was it Gary Lineker's Hot Shots on Commodore 64? That was cutting edge at the time.
Do you remember when they had the little tape desk next to it, and you just load it up and it went.
Yeah, half an hour. You had to go off, didn't you? Go and do something else, for half an hour, and then it came back and it had loaded.
Kids these days don't know the ball, and they literally put something on. It's there. Back in the day, you used to have to load these things up. I remember I had this game called Galaxians, and it'd take half an hour to load, and you'd have the screen going, and then it would crash.
Yeah, it didn't load. That was it. Yeah.
Manic Miner. Do you remember that?
Don't think no, not that one, but yeah.
And there was a fish one called James Pond. That was brilliant, mate. I loved my Commodore 64. I did back in the day. I had some, but I was really good at Sensible Soccer. And I tell you what else I was good at. I was good at Subutio.
That's it. We still play that now, actually, with my nephews. So that's come back down at the loft. My friend Simon. Who powers Walsall Fan TV. He beat the world champion at Subutio, and the next day I beat him. So that technically makes me the world champion for a day. Winner stops on.
It's fantastic. I'll have to, start throwing into the podcast and into these shows a little theme that we knit through. sort of like your favorite ever computer game or your favorite movie and things like that. I think that would be something cool. If you think, guys in the chat, whether we should introduce a new feature like your favorite sweet or your favorite movie or your favorite computer game or TV program for every guest I have on, if you think that's a good idea and a fun addition, favorite cake, then let me know in the comments and we'll start introducing it. Andrew Benton says Sensible Soccer on the 94 on the Amiga. Do you know what, Andy? I followed up my love for Commodore, and I had a Commodore Amiga as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a Commodore Amiga. I love my Commodores. I did. Anyway, slightly going off track.
Okay.
Back onto the game. What was your highlight of the weekend?
The weekend, well, I got more chance of the weekend than I have of the game anyway. So, yeah, I think the drink afterwards was probably the highlight. But I think
it was
the game, it was a good beer, wasn't it, afterwards? Eventually, after we found one, after someone would finally let us in, it was a bit of a walk, wasn't it, through the city. But I think the game, what I quite enjoyed was the little turn by Fabio on the halfway line when he let the ball run through. That's probably the best bit,
That's a good call. That was because that was that on the far side by the touchline when he turned.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact he's got that in his locker. You know, it's something a bit different. Yeah, that's what you can normally rely on Pedence for, something like that. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that we lack really sometimes. Someone that can do something a bit different.
And Andy, you're quite a fit person, so I take it the 140 stairs didn't really bother you.
Well, if I'd known what I was in for, I maybe would have taken a little bit longer to get up there, to be honest. But yeah, there was a guy next to me that was, as he was queuing up, that had clearly started in the pub a lot earlier than I had. And how he made it up there, I've no idea. Maybe he didn't. I didn't actually see him upstairs. But,
he probably made it to the halfway point and had like base camp, set up a tent.
That's it.
Got the oxygen mask out.
Yeah, what I did love was the queue for the lift. I thought, yeah, that's not something you see every day, is it? A football ground. Have you got every guy trying to get in the lift rather than take the stairs? So you got to do it, haven't you? If you get there, you got to try and take on the stairs.
I tell you what, mate, I've started something here with this computer. Gary Fernley, Rambo on the Commodore. Oh man, the memories. Andrew Benton still got his Game Boy. We've 1200 for in car. His friend had a 1200. I remember, like my mate Simon again. He was like, go back again. He had the ZX80 Spectrum, ZX80, and I remember as a young kid, being wowed by this game. Man, it was literally a little. I mean, it was about this big. The ZX80. It had a little membrane over it, and it was plugged in to a little black and white portable TV. And it was like, you've got to come and watch this skiing game. And it was literally asterisks, like the little asterisks on the screen with an equal sign that you'd ski through. And at the time, it was like, oh my God, that's so good. And it's like, you see them were the days, man. The days of our lives, the days of our youth, the ZX80. And look at, it's the power of like your phone now is like the same as what you could the Apollo moon landings. They've got more power. It's crazy, isn't it? Your man of the match, mate.
I think after the game, I said it was Fabio Silva. I think again it was difficult to pick someone, wasn't it? I did think I agree with a few other people that have said that I thought Bolly actually had a good game, but I do think that Fabio at least tried to make things happen a little bit and try and at least. Sort of make something happen for himself or for others. So, and he did get those shots away at the end. So yeah, I think I'd still stick with Silva as man of the match.
And are you what are you thinking now after the game of your performance rating? Because you would have seen Andy on the instant reaction after the match.
Yeah, I think it's still 5, isn't it? Really, I think time to. Sort of look back at it and see the highlights and stuff like that. It's just, I think the word I used was kind of underwhelming. I think it was so negative. I think right at the start, Jack was saying that it's a chance to play a marker down. It's Friday night. It's your chance to kind of put the pressure on the other teams and to turn up and play like that. It was. I just always feel that we do better on the front foot. We're a really good side on the front foot, and I think as soon as we try and take the sting out of games and just knock the ball around, I think it really starts to affect us, and it just that's not that's not us at our best, is it?
No, and I asked you straight after the match because we were on Friday night, and this was before United lost, Arsenal lost, West Ham got beaten by Brentford, and I turned to you and I went, Andy, is Europe over? And you went, is it gone? And you went, yes, it's gone. Are you still thinking the same, or is the results of the weekend? That hope has come back.
It just keeps prolonging the agony, doesn't it? Because you still then start looking at it and thinking, "Come on, is this it? Can we do it?" And I don't know. Is it going to be one of those seasons where it's another one of those what if moments? If we'd just done that or just got that result. I think for me, the Leeds game, we'd done so well, haven't we, to get to the position we're in at half time. It felt like this is our chance to kick on, and this Friday just gone was the complete opposite of that. And I think we sort of said after the game, I think if you finish the game with a team of Campbell, Cundle, Silva, nothing against those players, and it's no way a criticism of them, but that isn't a team that's challenging for the top 6 of the Premier League, is it? There's a lot of inexperienced people there. I think, are we ready for that, to kick on to that next level with the squad we've got? Possibly not. These injuries, that's sort of taken.
I think what it has showcased, hasn't it? Again, it's showcased how thin our squad is. If we get we pick up injuries, like we've got, I'd say we've got decent cover at wing back because we've got effectively 4 wing backs: Aït-Nouri, Marcel, Johnny, and Hoover. Johnny can play either side, technically speaking. So we've got 4 wing backs, all in specific, and Semedo as well. So that's 5. Yeah. You look up front at the wide players: Wang, Neto, Pedence, Trincao. We did have, obviously, Adama. Giles will probably come into that mix again, and wing back sort of thingy, Chiquino. You've got a bit there. And then at the defence, obviously, you've got, when they're all fit, but the strength in depth, especially in the midfield areas, you've said all season, we've only really got Moutinho, 36, Neves, and Dendoncker. Cundle's come into the squad. Saiz can potentially play, but we're really short. I think what worries me, what worries most Wolves fans is at the end of this season, Moutinho hasn't signed a new contract. He's 35, 36. Neves is 2 years left. So, bids of 50 or 60 million, and Wolves are going to be tempted to sell. And if we don't get European football, is he going to want to go? But we have to say every year we're worrying about Neves going, and it's been a joy that we've had him as long as we have. Dendoncker, it's pretty much, I think he'll still be around. But Cundle's coming through. Morgan Gibbs-White has done well at Sheffield, but we need to strengthen the midfield, not weaken it next season. You need to keep your Neves, your Dendoncker, your Cundle, and Moutinho potentially, and add another 2 to it, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, we need a different style of player, I think, in there to complement what we've got. I think, the player that, not that we'd ever sign that player in particular, but someone like a Kovacic at Chelsea, someone that can, beat a man, drive you up the pitch with the ball and pull other teams apart a little bit. We don't really have that. We move the ball quite well, but nobody really takes anybody on in those central positions. It tends to come from out wide. I don't profess to know everything about him, but that seems to be the sort of style of play that Renato Sanchez or someone like that can bring to you. So again, we just need different options because it can all get a little bit samey. And I think Cundle in that too, it was just a little bit unfortunate he got thrown in that, because in a 3 against Tottenham he looked really good. And against
that's right, and that's the thing that I've been tempering. It was he was really thrown into the deep end in a 2, and in a 3 he's just got that extra bit of protection, and you could see his confidence grow. Whereas in the 2 he was always worried about making the mistake, and we just didn't have the range of vision to get get any grip on the game, did we? And I think the change at half time, if it had changed to a 3, it might have just, I mean, we did play better second half, to be fair, and they scored just when we were starting to get on top, but we never got a grip of the game at any point, really, did we?
No, I mean, we couldn't get near to Shelby, who kept putting those balls over the top, which, I don't know, it seems to be a bit of a running theme lately. Teams seem to be trying to knock these balls over the top and get us sort of turned. We couldn't get near him. Like Gareth said, that Bruno in midfield for them played well. So you're playing against 3 good players in there as well. It's not just the fact it's 2-on-3. You've got 3 actually very good midfielders, even for where Newcastle
we're
are.
Overloaded. We got, one player at the one end of his career, still going strong, 35, 36 years old, an absolute wizard, seen it all, done it all. And then you've got a young lad who is almost like want to be like Moutinho and maybe will be. Young lad, 19, lots of ability, but he hasn't got that level of experience yet of playing the amount of games you need to have that savviness. And it came through, didn't it, mate? Do you think Neves will be with us next season? Your heart, your gut instinct.
Oh, it's 2 different things, isn't it? I mean, if we've got any ambition, you've got to build a team around him. You've got to get him tied down, but you've got to convince him probably of the project again. I think, when we got promoted, they went out and made, Moutinho, Patricio, those kind of signings, and it puts a bit of a statement of intent out there. I think I can't see him sign a new deal without some kind of, guarantee that they're going to be up there challenging and really going for it. I think if you look at, you probably look at what Jota's doing at Liverpool, doing well in 4 competitions still. He'll want a bit of that eventually, but you just feel like we're so close to being able to offer him that. But it really, it's a massive summer, isn't it?
I think Wolves are offering him a new contract, and it certainly would. With 2 years to go on his contract, if they get an extra 2 years, it certainly means they can command a higher fee and scare people off. I think if we get European football, whether it's Conference League or Europa League, that will add an extra added appeal. It will also help Wolves recruit in the summer window, because you can say we've got European football as well. Even if it's the Conference League, it's a trophy that you can potentially go and win. Leicester have done well in this year. So even like 7th, I mean, there is a scenario, I think, whereas we can finish 8th and still qualify. I believe someone was saying that. So tell me if I'm wrong. Probably Carl will probably know this. Carl Whitehouse, Mr. Stato, he'll probably know. But I'm sure someone said that there is a scenario where we can still finish 8th. I think it might be if West Ham or Leicester win the Europa League or the Conference League, that then drops a place down, because they've won. So they'll go into, like, if Leicester wins the Conference League, I think they go in the Europa League, and West Ham win the Europa League, they go in the Champions League, and then that drops down another space. I think that's the thinking. So 8th could still do it. I still have a gut feeling that we can still sneak 7th, because I think West Ham have still got so much to play for. And they've got their eyes on the prize elsewhere. I think if there's one team we might sneak above because of the distraction that they've got with the European competitions, it might be West Ham. Saying that, we do have Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, and on paper we get no points. How many points do you think we're going to get from the next 6 games?
I think, the thing with Wolves, we're always capable of getting points in those big games, though, aren't we? You wouldn't rule us out of getting points when we need them. Really now, I think realistically in 6 games, you probably need to win, at least 3, if not 4 games to try and, really get yourself in that contention. I mean, for me, Man United are still there. The way they're playing at the moment, there's no reason why we couldn't finish above them.
Well, to be honest, mate, I mean, you're right, because like United aren't they? I mean, Ronaldo lost it after the game. We've all seen the incident. That was just petulance. He's such a talent, but you don't go around knocking a young kid's phone out of his hand because of having a tantrum at the end of the game. I felt that was disappointing, and I don't think he'll be at United next year, Ronaldo. I think he's had enough of the project, because I don't think United are going anywhere currently. I mean, Arsenal apparently in for Neves, but then apparently they were in for him last summer as well, and it never quite happened. I don't know, mate. I just think if we get that European, it would just help keep Neves. And if we do lose the likes of Neves and Moutinho, then we've got to virtually build a brand new midfield for next year, which is difficult, Keith.
Yeah. I think, it shows how far we've come that you'd be really disappointed if he went to someone like Arsenal or Tottenham or even Man United, to be honest. The way they are at the minute, they're in all sorts of trouble, aren't they? There's a lot of things going wrong there. But unless you left for big money to either a team abroad or one of the top two.
He won't go to Man City because basically they've got everybody player going, and I don't think Grealish can hardly get into the team, so he won't go there. Chelsea, I can't see him going there because they've got an embargo, and why would you want to go to Chelsea at the moment with the way things are? Then you've got Liverpool. They've just got, is it Thiago? They've got, so I can't see that. Tottenham, that might be an option, but then maybe not. Arsenal, I was talking to the producer earlier saying, why would he go to Arsenal? I was like, well, big stadium, London club, European football.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think, unfortunately, we've got any aspirations to get into this sort of top six regularly and compete, then you can't be selling your best players to teams like Arsenal and Tottenham. That's just the reality of it.
It's the acid test, isn't it, when we get to the summer? This summer, Fosun have got to, and I've had it on good authority that they will go strong this summer. I think they've given Bruno, he's done well with what he's got. He wants to play a 4-2-3-1 formation. That's his preferred system. We've got some players that can play in that system, some that's not, and he wants the options of going the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2 as the plan B and plan C, but his preferred formation is 4-2-3-1. And they've got to back him. He's got to be backed in the summer because Wolves have come to a period of time now where we've finished 7th, 13th, currently 8th. Next year's the year where we've got to kick on. We're either going to kick on or we're going to drop. And I think it's going to be a pivotal summer to see what happens.
Absolutely. I think they've either got to now build that team around Neves or use the money and reinvest across the whole squad, really. I think that opportunity we've got now to really kick on is what will define, that they've made all that investment already to get us to where we are. It'd be criminal almost, wouldn't it, just to stop now or settle for where we're at because we're not actually that far away.
Well, exactly. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Ask Wolves series when they come out, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions on that. Before we get to the end of the show, we have the latest competition from Football Prizes, and it is this one. Currently on the site, finishes at 7. You got your entries in for 7:30 Wednesday night. You can get yourself in the draw. I think there's obviously a limit on the number of entries that can be drawn. It's only £2.95 to get in, and that's signed, framed Joe Moutinho and Ruben Neves dual framed football boots, obviously all authenticated, all framed up and delivered directly to you if you're drawn out the hat. You got till 7:30 Wednesday evening, and the draw normally takes place on the Football Prizes Facebook page around about 12 o'clock the next day. So the link's in the description below if you fancy winning that and getting yourself in the competition. So finally, how you found your debut, mate?
Yeah, it's good. No, there's good to get a sort of cross section of different people's opinions. It's almost therapeutic, isn't it, to talk through, especially after a defeat?
Well, it is, mate. And will you come on again?
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely delightful having you on, mate. I really, really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone that's been supported in the chat. Before you log off, before you finish, just please smash a like on the video. It'll just let YouTube know that you enjoyed the content. If you are brand new, please consider subscribing, hit the bell, so you'll never miss an upload. And of course, if you want to become a member, get into the Discord chat, the private members chat, and all that sort of stuff, and just get involved. The link's in the description below, or you can send the Always Wolves Facebook page, a direct message, or Always Wolves on Instagram, or me on Instagram, Dazzling Dave, a message, and I'll send you over the stuff. A big thank you to all the guests tonight. Much appreciate Jack, Lucy, obviously Andy, and of course Gareth from SpiderVPN, the Newcastle fan as well. Absolutely great to have him on. And mate, thanks for coming on extra time, and also on the instant reaction. It was a pleasure meeting you and spending some time with you up on the tune, so to speak.
You too. Cheers, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
All the best to everyone in the chat and to your families, wherever you are. It'll be out on podcast. Well, if you're listening to it back on the podcast, you'll know that because you'll be listening to it on the podcast. Always Wolves, everyone. Take care.